Good afternoon. This is Maria Karstafen, the Superintendent for Atlanta Public Schools, and you are joining our fourth A.P.S. District Town Hall for a virtual Q&A session about our COVID-19 closure for teleworking and teleschooling. Now, there's a lot of stuff that we need to cover today, especially as it relates to our students, our seniors being able to get some of their questions answered about the critical graduation ceremonies and other things we need to do to close out the school year. I want to thank everyone for continuing to work through these unprecedented times as we take on the challenges of virtual learning while also running the school system, closing out the school year, working through the summer, and trying to set ourselves up for a successful new school year. Now, there are a lot of things around food, health services, wraparound supports, pushing everything to connectivity so that we can do the virtual learning, but we have not figured out all the answers, so please continue to be patient with us and be part of those solutions. Now, if this is your first time joining us, please remember to submit your questions in the comments section so that we can answer the questions that are most pressing on your mind. Before I start taking questions, I'll give you a big update on where we are so that you too can get some of those answers, maybe questions that you didn't have that might be helpful as you think through how we're finishing the school year. Now, one of the big things that's on people's minds as I was looking through social media is what's going to happen after this weekend. We are aware that Georgia is allowing some places to reopen starting as early as tomorrow, but I want to be crystal clear about Atlanta Public Schools. We are not reopening, and we are not bringing students and staff back for the rest of this school year. As a matter of fact, it is highly unlikely that even through the month of June, that we would have people coming back into our regular bricks and mortar buildings. There are a lot of things that we're trying to get done while maintaining social distancing, making sure we're using the PPE guidance for gloves and masks and things of that sort. So please continue to telework and teleschool. It's for all of our safety. And while we don't run the state and we don't have anything to be able to necessarily influence that on, I will say that A.P.S. is not allowing people to come onto our properties. You're not supposed to be on the playgrounds, on the basketball courts, in our parking garages. Please stop cutting off the locks to the gates. It is expensive, and it's also making it difficult for us to ensure that our families and communities are safe. We all have a responsibility in making sure that we're not spreading this virus. So case in point, you can look right now, I am in a side ponytail. I tried to give myself my own haircut. It went really bad. And in addition to that, the rain and the weather did not help. So while I know that nail salons and maybe some other businesses will open, I am not going to go and utilize those services because, as your superintendent, I am modeling for our students what we expect during this time. And what we expect is that people are being very protective. And if you're not walking around with a mask and gloves and able to use hand sanitizer and all those things that you need to do, then it is still not safe for you or for other people. So if I can get out here and look all torn up with my hair and everything else, I think y'all will be okay if you wait a few more weeks to kind of see how things go before you put children and our caregivers in harm's way. Now, I do have a lot of great news to share, including I found out what that thing was in our food bags. It is called a taquito. And that taquito is actually quite delicious. Rachel Sprecher, the head of partnerships, did a taste of it and claims that it was delicious. I still haven't been able to bring myself to eat one just yet, but I'm going to get there before we finish all of our food distribution. Mostly because we have more exciting food that's been distributed throughout our process, and I'll talk about some of those things. Again, we want to shout out and thank Diaz Foods for giving us more than 20,000 pounds of culturally and ethnically relevant food choices for our Latino families. It took us 2 days to distribute all the food, which was very welcome in our communities. So we thank you again, Barbarella and Renee, for making that possible for our families. And thank you to the ESOL department and our food nutrition department and our volunteers for stepping up and making that possible. Now, on to the other good news and information. We want to celebrate the class of 2020 because we believe that you are worth the wait for a great graduation ceremony, and we're going to try to fill a little bit of the gap with a tiny bit of celebration, but try to give you an opportunity to actually have the real graduation. So Grad Nation 2020 is hashtag worth the wait, and it's officially on. So we've been talking to everyone, and with respecting the social gathering restrictions of Georgia due to COVID-19, we are going to go through the month of May with a virtual celebration concept, delaying all traditional ceremonies until the summer or when we know that it's safe to have a date that adheres to the Georgia Department and CDC guidance for being able to come together in large groups. Now, the district reached this decision not on its own, but by getting input from our graduating seniors across all 14 high schools, and they all significantly favored a traditional ceremony. And the fact that they themselves started the hashtag worth the wait, we are going to use that as our guiding light, if you will, as we work our way through the ceremonial and the celebratory events. So as part of the design that we wanted to make sure everyone heard of is that we'll conduct a virtual ceremony during the regular graduation season. So those dates between May 18th and May 21st, when we would have done our regular graduation, we're going to use that window to get some of our virtual celebratory pieces out there. So with the work and the help of our schools and families, we'll create something that's virtual that will make it possible for you to celebrate with your families and watch it online, if you will, until we get to a point where we can do the traditional ceremonies. Now, we're considering dates as late as July, using Lakewood and Grady stadiums as possible venues, because we still do believe it's going to be necessary for us to be in the open air. And so if ceremonies have to be delayed, beyond even July and August, then that probably means that we're getting into the holiday seasons and or celebratory times related to the holidays. And so that'll take more planning and organizing, but we are working to consider Thanksgiving, winter break, to maximize the attendance of not only our graduates, but their families. But this is all done with a caveat that it has to be safe for us to bring people inside in venues. And if you are outside in July, it's going to be as hot as the Jawillikers. So it means that, you got to be prepared to sweat. And you know how the July temperatures are. So if it's like over 100 degrees, in Georgia, which does happen, we have to think about the health and safety of people as well as it relates to that. So there's a lot to still consider, but we are following the wishes of our seniors. And so we want to do that. Hashtag worth the wait. So we want to congratulate the class of 2020 for making it through those 13 years of school, plus a global pandemic to boot. So we think they're worth the wait. They think they're worth the wait. We hope you'll join us in a pledge to help them celebrate and ensure they get all the pomp and circumstance they deserve. Now, in that spirit, we're also celebrating the valedictorians, salutatorians, and STAR students with a virtual breakfast ceremony on Thursday, May 7th. So that is still on the calendar. In addition to that, we're still working with the board to get our recognition ceremony put together as well for students who have been our champions throughout the school year, winning everything from basketball championships to spelling bees. And so we want to be sure that we celebrate them as well. Now that we're done kind of talking about our seniors and those celebrations, I want to make sure that I transition a little bit to technology, because the virtual ceremonies and all that will also require that we are able to have our families be connected. So we have a campaign going right now. It's called Get Our Kids Connected. And if you need a computer, if you do not have access to a computer, please go ahead and email your child's school or email Get Our Kids Connected at APS12.org. It's just that simple. Or call or email at getourkidsconnected at APS12.org. So you can do any of that, so that you can absolutely get a computer that you can keep that is brand new. And I think I said that wrong. It's APSK12.org. So Get Our Kids Connected at APSK12.org. But make sure that you go ahead and do that, because you will be able to get a brand new computer and free internet access for a year due to the donations that we're receiving. Again, thank you, United Way, Atlanta Tech Village, also a soon-to-be announced $1.3 million donation that allows us to do this work. So we're sitting at about $1.8 million. We're very close to getting 100% of our students connected, but it'll be a heavy lift getting these devices out. So please make sure that you write to us and let us know that information about where we can send those computers. Now, on the technology front, I also want to say that there's a lot of research about the digital divide and what's going to happen to children who don't have access to technology. So even though we're closing out the school year, we want our kids to hold on to this technology all the way through the summer, so you can still get books and art and information all throughout the time that you're not in the regular school year with Atlanta Public Schools. So please, please do that. Now, in addition to the technology, we're still doing food, and we'll continue to do food as long as we can while we're managing things as it relates to the virus. Now, to give you a sense of how serious we are about that, everyone does have to wear the mask and the gloves, and when they come in, we have nurses and nurses and health professionals at the various food distribution sites, and they take the temperature from the forehead. They make sure that people are wearing the mask and gloves, and if you do have a temperature, or if you're not using the hygiene efforts that we expect to protect us from COVID-19, you do get sent home. And just to put a finer point on it, we sent 11 people home in one day because they showed elevated temperatures above the recommended degrees. So just know that every time we do that, it does make it harder for us to provide the food services, the tech services, because we really do want people to be healthy and safe and not spread coronavirus. Now, amid all of this chaos and craziness, we're still doing more to help kids succeed. And that means that food and technology are two of those things, but there may be other things that our families are experiencing. So a new update for everyone to hear is that we're sending out a survey card so that families can help us identify their needs. We will get them connected to partners who may be able to offer more services and supports than A.P.S. either has the authority to do or the resources to do. So there is going to be a card mailed to you. The card itself that you mail back is prepaid. so you don't have to worry about even putting a stamp on it. There is a QR code in the survey, so you can even take that survey online. And A.P.S. is only charged for the postage that is used. So you don't have to worry if you don't send in the card and you decide to use the QR code. A.P.S. is not wasting any money by you not sending that card back in. But we need you to either do it online or simply drop the card back in the mail. So let me be clear. It's going to ask you for permission to give your information to a provider or a partner who can help you. We give you a list of options, but if you want to fill in the other line, there may be things that are unique to your family that really isn't important to somebody else's family, and that's okay. Just write it in or note it in when you do the online survey, and we'll get you the help that you need. So please, make sure you sign it. When we ask you to print your name carefully and the name of the child, the card is unique to your child. So just know when you go in and you click on that QR code, it's not random. We've already tied it to a student so that we can make sure that we get quality data back and we can directly serve you and the student. So it's not going to be stuff that A.P.S. does, right? But you can still write it in if it's important to you. But it's asking you about other things like housing and food and maybe tuition support for your child. There are a lot of things that our families are going through right now, and we just need your permission to let our partners know that they can call or contact you at the specific number, at the specific address, with the specific name so that you can get the services you need. So please look for that. That survey is being mailed, and it's also being sent to you so that you can use the QR code. Now, the survey itself was produced right before COVID-19, and it is going to say in the little letter from your superintendent that you can return it to your school. Please do not go back to your school. Just read the revised information. We tried to put it on the envelope that says just mail it or just do the QR code survey. So thank you. Please look out for that in the mail, and we'll get our generous partners to help you match your needs. Now, a couple of other details that I think are important for people to know. If we do the open air graduation, and by the way, 78% of the seniors surveyed wanted us to do that. The target dates for that, so you can just hold them on your calendar, are going to be July 20th through the 24th or July 27th through the 31st. So again, depending on what the weather's like and everything else, these things will probably have to happen really early in the morning before it's really, really hot, or late in the evening because of heat-related challenges. I've already told you it's Lakewood or Grady stadiums, and then and again, those late fall, maybe winter gatherings. We don't know what those would be. That's going to be based on availability and whether or not we can be inside. So the last day for seniors, like I told y'all last time, is what? May 1st. And we're doing that a little early so that we get the 3 weeks we need to ensure that, due to all of our remote status, that our high schools will need that extra week to ensure that kids can do their graduation clearance. Now, I am going to move on and let you know that according to, and I just got my new data about logins, we are seeing a better update since I think this is April 17th. So we know that we're still trying to get devices to pre-K and K students, but we are seeing better numbers as it relates to the percent of students who have logged in. First and second graders are at 91%. Third through fifth graders are at 94.7%. Sixth through eighth graders are our winners at 97.3%. Ninth through 12th graders are at 93%. And when we do this on average across all grades, it's 89.7, because pre-K and K are still at about 54% of students logged in. And when I look at that compared to about a month ago, we we see improvements across the board in every group. So everyone except middle school was below 90%. And now everyone is above 90%, and even the pre-K students went up from 43% to 54% logged in. So congratulations, thank you families, and if your baby still isn't doing work or you're worried that the laptop isn't working right or whatever, please call 404-802-1000 for IT, or call your school and just leave a voicemail and we will track you down and get you those devices. And if you see anybody on a food route, for example, I just did the one on Monday, and I was able to get 7 more computers out on that day because when families came out for food, they were able to give me the information, and you can get that information and someone will call, like just get the person who's delivering the food to call the 404-802-1000 number and give the information about you and your children to IT. And then what Femi and Aaliyah and Bill Karich and all those people do, they just turn around, find the student in the system, we get the address, we verify with you, and we send someone out right away. If we can find someone to deliver it, I delivered 7. You can get the stuff delivered sooner rather than later. If we can't get someone to deliver it, we will mail it to you. So please don't hesitate. We want to be here to help you. Again, on Mondays, we do about 160,000 breakfast and lunch meals, and we're still working with Gooder, the Atlanta Community Food Banks, Hands on Atlanta, Zifty, Uber, DS Foods, and others I'm a Father First to all help us with expanding and supersizing our food delivery programs. So please know that we're trying not to alter those bus route times so that you can get into a regular routine on Mondays to get meals. Thank you again to the National Guard, our police officers, the Sheriff's Department, which was the Fulton County Sheriff's Department. They were out with us again all on Monday, helping us have a safe distribution strategy on that big day. And again, those are Mondays. Now, a couple of quick things. Remember, Summer Power Up is canceled, but extended learning for certain student groups, especially special ed students, is still happening. So if you don't understand that, or if you have questions about that, please call your principal, because we still have federal requirements for certain student groups to get extended learning even into the summer. So don't confuse Power Up with the supports that you need and deserve in special education. I saw another question. A.P.S. Rocks and Runs is on. It is Saturday, May 2nd, and Friday, May 15th. I mean, you can still sign up through May 2nd, and on Friday, May 15th, at a location of your choosing, you can go out and celebrate, help us raise money and celebrate our Teacher Appreciation Week. Remember, you'll get a race bib, a commemorative t-shirt, a finisher's medal. All that will be mailed to you so that it is safely delivered to your home. Now, I had some questions about Hero Pay. Remember, we are helping our staff members who've been out on the front lines delivering services, IT, food, safety and security, so on and so forth, to our families. What I want to say is that our original design for Hazard Pay was absolutely about frontline workers. We are now seeing that there are people who are going to be eligible for Hero Pay because they are required to work daily and they're unable to avoid engaging with the public, or they're being put into public areas where they too are exposed to people who may or may not be practicing the appropriate social distancing guidance. So we've added more eligible roles. One that I wanted to highlight are our police dispatchers who are often having people who have safety and security needs, or officers coming in and out of our dispatch office with issues. And so designated workers do get a time and a half for all hours worked. in person on their site. So just know that if you have any questions about that, please contact Human Resources, Sky Duckett. Look at our FAQs so that you know what that is. And as a reminder, we are still looking into the legal allowances as it relates to retro pay. We do not have an answer for that yet. And our General Counsel, Nina Gupta, is getting guidance where they are willing to give guidance from the Attorney General's office related to that so that we do not violate the Constitution. And there is a memo going out tomorrow via email to supervisors and staff across the board so that people understand what that is. Now, we have other questions that are pressing, like how do kids know what their grade was on March 13th? So parents can go into Infinite Campus, and when you go into the parent portal, you can contact your teacher or put your question in so that it can get responded to. If students have Infinite Campus access, they can check for the mid-semester grade. That's where you would find that that grade. Now, if you do not have access to your parent portal, you can still call your school and leave a voicemail. We are extending the memory of voicemail and everything to make sure that that those messages can be received and checked by principals and shared with the right people. The second question I got was, do seniors get their money back? And I think by money back, you're probably talking about senior dues and activity funds and things of the sort. So that is being managed by each school. There are some fees that are refundable, but I just want to remind everyone, senior dues cover many end of the year special events, including school paraphernalia that was already ordered that students said that they wanted. So it's like when in A.P.S, when we do the culmination of all the high school memorable occasion stuff for seniors, some of that money is used and it will not be able to be refunded, especially if they created those materials and they're being shipped. So while it, like I said, will vary from school by school, depending on the kind of items that they purchased and so on and so forth, like I know they did senior t-shirts and yearbooks and things of that sort. If they were not ordered, they will give you the money back. But if we ordered them and the things are coming in, we will make sure that we coordinate with our seniors to get those things shipped to them or picked up if there's ever a safe time for us to be out again. Now, some of that's already started, and so I need everyone to reach out to their schools and make sure that you're talking to your principal and your counselors about some of those questions. Now, where do we go for questions about IEPs? Special education teachers are communicating regularly with students and parents. As a matter of fact, I was on call with principals today where our special ed leadership was able to verify that IEP meetings are still happening. Principals are also still participating, but each school has a special ed lead teacher. So you've got to reach out to them. If you don't have an email, leave that message on the school voicemail so that they can get back in touch with you, okay? So it's okay if you have to just go old school and pick up the phone, but get us the information so that we can help. When can students pick up their items for school? Yeah. So as I know, like I said, I've gone to Twitter a couple of times about this. I get it that there's a shift in Georgia to open up things. We are not able, I am out there with food, with technology. A.P.S is not able to manage the level of safety and security to be able to just open our schools and let everyone in to pick up stuff. So as it stands right now, we're not opening schools. We're just going to hold the line on that until we know that there is some agreed upon guidance from the federal, state level about what should be happening. In the meantime, my job is to help you stay safe and healthy. And so we know that we also have schools that need to move because we're doing renovations and all of those kinds of details. And each school is going to have a plan to do that, and we will do that carefully and responsibly. But in the meantime, we're going to just have to hold off because I can't let you in schools yet to pick up those materials. How will seniors get their cap and gown, their yearbook? Okay, so the week of May 9th through 12th, all right, it's my understanding that we are looking at two concepts, and principals, after the conversation today, are going back one more time to be absolutely certain that if we do this, we can do it in a safe way. So the idea would be, one idea, if it's safe enough, but I can't say that as the peak of the virus is happening, this would be the most responsible thing for us to do. So please hold tight, but pencil this in. It's pencil and it's a draft. The week of May 12th, if we can do it, the week of May 9th through 12th, if we can do it at our high schools, we would possibly do like a drive-by and go. You cannot get out the car. You cannot get out the car and talk to your friends. You will have to come at a designated time. But the idea is that we would use CDC guidelines and people with masks and gloves, and we would ask you to find your own bandana and cover your hands to receive your yearbook, your senior pictures, your cap and gown. If it is not looking good and safe and things start going backwards more on the spread of the virus as things potentially start opening up again starting tomorrow, if things start moving rapidly in the wrong way, we are going to have to mail it. And that's not ideal, but I just want to say we're going to play that one by ear, but you should pencil in May 9th through 12th for the potential drive-through pickup, but you absolutely cannot get out of the car. What about students leaving for the military in July? We do understand that some students may no longer be in town in July, but it is what students said that they wanted. So you'll still get your program, your name would be called. We know that you're serving our country, and but what we can do is, you're not going to be the only kids across the country in the military experiencing this across the nation. So what we can do is still reach out to the appropriate people in our military systems and ask if it's possible for our students to be able to participate in some way. Now, that is such a big stretch for us because, like I said, so much is outside of our authority, but we will lobby starting now for y'all to be able to at least let the various students who are going into the military to let them know that we are going to try to figure out how they might be able to come home to be part of those ceremonies. But that one is so big and so difficult. We're a bureaucracy. The military has a lot of rules. We've worked with the National Guard recently. It takes a long time for things to process, so bear with us on that one. But we will keep you posted. So if there's anything that you can do, you would have enough information far enough in advance, perhaps to maybe request leave or something if they were willing to allow you to do that. And in advance, if it doesn't work out, I apologize because we do know that you're not only going through the coronavirus, but you're doing us a great service by joining the military to protect our country. Can kindergarten students get laptops? Well, most of our schools are giving kindergarten students tablets and iPads. So that's what you're typically getting if you are one of the babies. How can we register for 6 without updated vaccination certification? We're going to just have you go ahead and register online. Do not worry about the vaccination piece right now. I'm going to have to come back and update you on that one. That is tricky. That one's tricky. But I don't want you not to register, so just go ahead and register. Are there final grades for their finals for grades 9 through 11? Again, there are no finals this year. Again, there's no state accountability. There's no CCRPI. There's no milestones. There's no end of course. There's no end of grade. Those things are not happening. Does the North Atlanta cluster get food because there are no bus routes? Yes, the North Atlanta cluster does get food. So a long time ago, when we first started this, we figured out that we had to have a different distribution model for different communities. Some communities really could manage the bus route piece and successfully get foods. Others, due to their own personal family circumstance and some of the politics in the state of Georgia, we felt like we would serve them better and be able to help them more if we sent staff members who knew them and worked with the families in the North Atlanta cluster. So yes, we're delivering to the North Atlanta cluster like we are everyone else. When we were doing it daily, we were delivering daily. Now that we're doing weekly, we're doing it weekly. When we do food bank, we deliver food bank food. The DS foods, we deliver the DS foods. So we are absolutely doing that, and Gooder also has addresses, and they deliver groceries to our families as well. So please know that there is not a corner of the district where there is a need that A.P.S. has not been serving food. Now, everybody may be challenged with the food piece if the virus continues to expand and we continue to have to shut down food distribution sites, because when people get sent home, they have to either go get tested, or we have to see if they are starting to show symptoms, and we have to give them 2 weeks just to be certain. So the turnaround is harder to do because we don't have unlimited staff or volunteers. How can seniors get senior pics and portraits? I've already answered this. Remember, you're going to pencil in May 9th through 12th. And if we can do a drive-by pickup piece, we're going to do that. If not, we're going to have to ship everything home and mail it. So it is imperative that you go to Infinite Campus and update your information. The best telephone number, the best address. You must do that so that we can get you your stuff, seniors. So please do that. Can we have a town hall for the class of 2020? Yes, we actually talked about that. The communications department I wanted to be sure that seniors really wanted that, because sometimes they're just too cool for school, and they're not up for listening to the superintendent gas bag about all things like from our perspective. But I love you guys, and I can't wait for us to get our own special town hall. So not only are we open to it, we want to do it. And Dan Sims, the associate superintendent for high schools, is working with communications, and we'll make sure we get that out to all seniors so we have enough time to plan. And also, I have a super special secret letter that I'm sending y'all, so look out for that. And that will also set us up for that town hall, just for our beautiful young men and women who are the graduating class of 2020. Will more PD be provided to paraprofessionals? Yes, but talk to your principal, and not only for paraprofessionals and for teachers too. That's why we moved to that 4-day virtual teaching and learning day, with the 5th day still being a work day, but allowing for professional learning, allowing for office hours, allowing for student remediation and small group work. I mean, that's why we did that. We want you to use that Friday for professional learning. So they've added a lot to My PLC. So you can log in and use that as well, and all of it is going to have to be online. Though we're not going to do any in-person professional learning because we don't want people to get sick. How do we return our JROTC uniforms? Now, if you are a senior, when we try to figure all that out with the potential drive-by pickup stuff, we may just like have a box and you just dump it in there, like staple your name on it and dump it in a box so that we can get it all clean. But if you are not a senior, just keep them until you return to school, okay? And that's probably the safest way to do it so that you're not unnecessarily trying to come to the school or expose yourself to the virus or get out in the public. Will schools be sanitized by opening? Yes, I told you, like, I'm all down for the nucleation of the schools. So we are scrubbing with that first day of school shine, and then we're gas, aerosol, bombing the room so that the mist of virus-killing chemicals land on surfaces. And we're also using all of the CDC recommended cleaners as well. So just know that's happening too. All right. Our teacher residency program still on? Yes, we love our residents, and they're so valuable to us on our strategy for teacher quality. You're already budgeted for next year, so if you're in a program like Relay or Create, do not worry. You are still with us, and we're looking forward to you continuing with the district. So please do not leave A.P.S. We still want you to be part of our instructional team. If a child's grade is higher than it was on March 13th, will they get the higher grade? Yes, they will. So please be sure that you are having your child log in, engage, participate, work on those grades and improve them. We want to be helpful. We don't want our kids to go backwards. So please, please, please continue to do your schoolwork. I can't see that question. How will schools, there are a couple of questions for next year. So hold on to next year and let's look at the next one. It says, what about SAT testing? Okay, so the SAT, most colleges, I think, are waiving SAT and maybe even ACT, or it's like paused for now. So if I could get Dan Sims or Michael Lamont or Bill Carich, anybody in the accountability staff to answer that question. Is it June next? June is the next SAT, so I think you need to make sure we can verify that. So May is canceled. I think May is canceled, but June is next Saturday. I can't. September 26th. So what does next Saturday mean? The next Saturday is canceled. Next SAT is on September 26th, and pretty much I think if you are, if you are already accepted to college or are waiting for decisions or we're going to apply, please call the universities directly and find out exactly what they are doing. Somebody just thank you, Amanda Brooks. There's a good site. It's collegereadiness.collegeboard.org. Please go to that and get information. Okay, so what was my next question? I lost my line. So someone said, I got the graduation dates. Where will it be held? Okay, Corliss, remember, we don't know. We have the windows, so that's not a date yet. So pencil in those windows. And if we do the open air later in the summer, we're going to use A.P.S sites like Lakewood and Grady stadiums. Okay, so it'll be an open air stadium. Those are probably the best options we have. Oh, and a thank you, Corey Edwards. I wanted to remind everyone that the school choice deadline has been extended to May 1st. So please go to www.atlanta.k12.ga.us/transfer for more information. And Corey Edwards is our genius behind the coordination of student assignments. And so he is on top of that. Oh yeah, well right here, Victoria, she said oh gosh, can somebody grab that one? Since there's no Georgia milestone or end of the year, is promotion to the next grade solely based on grade average? So the grade piece, is Danielle Battle here? I just need her to come up so I can see. So whatever the grade was on March 13th is what you're working with. That's the baseline. So if you were okay on the 13th, what we're going to do is still encourage you to make that grade better, but you can anticipate that you would be promoted. Now you have like I said, an opportunity to improve your grade if it wasn't looking good, right, and it was likely that you were not going to be promoted. So get on it if you have not worked on improving your grade. And then also today, Olivine Roberts, who's over academics, talked to principals about all of the built-in supports that we're putting in the units of study so that when students come back and they still may not have mastered what they needed to do, even though they had a good grade, we're going to make sure that we are embedding more supports in those things. It's okay, Daisy, if you missed the first 30 seconds, you can re-watch this after it's over and watch the first 30 minutes again, and also go to our FAQs. Okay, somebody said again, how do we access the March 13th grades? You're going to have to go into Infinite Campus. Remember, you go into Infinite Campus and look for the mid-semester tab, and that's where you would see it. Okay. Now seniors. Okay. Now Daisy, I don't know what you mean about the seniors, but if you're talking about grades for seniors, if your grades were not where they needed to be when we left school, you're going to need to be doing virtual learning and working toward the summer school graduation timeline, right? So some seniors will be able to wrap it up and graduate on time. Others are still going to put their backs into it all through the summer through AVA, the Atlanta Virtual Academy, to be part of the summer graduation. So you know who you are if you have not been on top of your grades. And by the way, like I am watching juniors and seniors, and some of you, like I said, I know you have the laptop. I know you have the connectivity. I know some of you are watching right now and you're not doing your work. So some of this is on y'all too. You got to meet your teachers and your schools halfway, because we're not just going to socially promote you because you were in school. So please continue to do your work. Yes, thank you. Saturday, June 6th was canceled. Thank you for clearing that up for me. Gosh, I lost a question again. My thing moves, just clicks away. Where were we? With no tax revenue coming in, are we secure for employment? Okay, so through 2021-2022 school year. Okay, so we're just going to talk about 2020-2021 school year, and that is fiscal year 21. So I'm just talking about next school year. We're not going to furlough, we're not laying people off, but you are right, about 73% of our budget comes from property tax, not sales tax. So we'll get most of our revenue because of when coronavirus actually hit. And what I've said, and I'll say it again, we will hobble through fiscal year 21, which is this upcoming school year, but it's going to be crushing in fiscal year 2022. So the tightening of the belt is real, and I cannot promise anything about 21-22. I just think APS is going to have to do all that it can to have a budget that works, that is, of course, reflective of the enrollment that we have. And don't forget that, we are all hopeful that the CARES Act is going to come into play and allow us to recoup some of the money that we had to spend as it relates to the coronavirus. But we're doing all we can to keep our hands off of positions. So we are focusing on non-personnel reductions now to minimize any impact on personnel. So know that you have that commitment from me as we wrap up this school year and hand the budget over to the board for action. But it's going to be tight, and everything that you do, you know how that is. Anything that you mitigate today relieves your pressure for tomorrow. So get super serious about that. I've emphasized for the umpteenth time to principals the following. Please don't just burn through your general fund dollars because you might have something left in the bucket. Don't just go spend it. Call the CFO, Lisa Bracken, immediately and try to figure out how we put that in the coffers for the greater good of A.P.S. Now, there are 3 things that happened during coronavirus that I think that we're going to have to lean hard on the CARES Act to refund for us so that we're not digging into the general fund. Number 1, we completely obliterated our online testing and our technology. In other words, all of our carts, all of our labs had to be pushed out to students. And so because of that, we're looking at anywhere from a $3.5 to a $5 million gap in replenishing at every school their labs and their carts, right? And then we also know, if you believe the scientists and the health professionals, that the coronavirus is going to keep coming and going, that the flu season plus the coronavirus is going to be crushing, and that you may actually still have to have select school or vertical or clusters closed down if the virus actually emerges again through the fall and the winter. So having said that, having kids with technology still at home and having that available to them is going to be critical for the learning success, teleworking, and teleschooling if you have to actualize that again once we come back and it's safe, for a school year. So that's number 1. Number 2, we had to gut all of our science labs, especially at the secondary level, because there was such an immediate outcry from hospitals, some of our research institutions like Emory and Grady, and we wanted to be helpful. They did pay for things like hand sanitizers and those sorts of things, but still we have to replenish them for schools. But goggles and masks and gloves, we went in and took everything that they asked us to give to them and passed that out, and we're going to have to replace that. The third thing, what was the third thing that I know? Library books. Remember, we were trying to hand off as many library books to kids. We were hoping to give out 10. We didn't do that. We were hoping for 5. If we were lucky, kids walked out with 5. Most of them walked out with about 3 books, 3 to 5 books. So we need students to return those to your libraries. But if for any reason they got lost or something, we can't penalize schools and obliterate our school collections because we still need them when school comes back. So those are all mounting pressures that we'll see. That's on top of that. There's food and nutrition pressures. Because we had to change the model and had up charges when we tried to pre-package food. So anyway, A.P.S. is already feeling those pressures. Lisa Bracken is aware of those, and we're trying to work through those so that money is set aside. All right, will seniors be able to order National Honor Society and Beta grad cords? I am going to make sure that you get those. And I am going to make sure that anything that I can answer in my letter to seniors, I will do and get all that information so that it's written and you have it just for you. And I'll also, when we do our senior town hall, I'll also make sure, if you have any other questions, make sure you submit them and I'll have those answers by the time we get together. Will you get your Rock and Run medal? Yes, you will, sweetheart. You're going to get that medal. I know. I love those medals. I have a whole wall full of runs and medals. You will get your medal, but I'm going to have to mail it to you along with your other stuff. So also when you do your rocks and runs, can you please send pictures, tag me at Carstarfin MJ so that I can retweet them. I want y'all to still make it possible for us to follow. And an easy way for me to search for you is if you use the hashtag A.P.S. rocks and runs. Okay, so if you do it on that hashtag, then I can find them and retweet. All right, we only have about 5 minutes left, so let's keep plugging through these questions. Are we still getting teacher raises? We are. Looking at that budget, sweating bullets. I want to, but look, I think we need to sit on our powder, right? And what I recommended the board consider is like a commitment statement. Like, we are committed to not cutting pay, we're committed to not cutting positions, and we're committed to giving you the raises when we have the money, right? Or when we're certain we have the money. But I think it's, and people can weigh in. You can tell me whether you agree or not. But I just feel like it's more important that we keep people in stable jobs and make sure that they have their benefits, that they're getting a salary, that they can pay their rent or their mortgage, buy food, take care of their car. So please know if you can hold off on the raise piece. We've done all the analysis. We know how much we need. I just worry you're not going to have the money. And I'd rather see people still working when so many people are going to be hurting, and they're hurting already. Is A.P.S. still actively hiring for openings? Yes, we're still interviewing. Principals are interviewing every day. They do it through an online video system. Jobs are posted at www.apsrecruits.us. Follow them on at Join Team APS on Twitter. But we are being conservative right now about how many people we bring on, mostly because you don't want to bring people on and then turn around and have to lay people off. So, but we are hiring. So please look for those positions. Somebody asked about promotion. I think I missed it. Graduation. I was like, what are we doing about 5th and 8th grade graduation? Not graduation, like promotion ceremonies. You need to call your principal. They're trying to do those things virtually for our kids. Okay, I think I'm down to 3 minutes right here. Hold on, making sure my little thing stalled. So I wanted to be certain that I was capturing everything. Is there any last questions before I start signing off? Okay, so thank you for joining the latest town hall. We're going to try to do these weekly because I know there's a lot of information and a lot of details. I am working through with principals, so let me be clear. There will be students who were, we know we're doing work, but we haven't seen them log on or engage. And we don't want to make any assumptions or judgments about what's going on there. But there will be some students that will get incompletes, and we want to be able to make sure that we are being responsible with allowing students to still work on their grades and work on catching up on their instruction. So there's just a lot of details and everything, and we're going to make sure that we can do that. I wanted to just close out by thanking all of our frontline workers. I mean, A.P.S, everybody said all kinds of things about A.P.S, especially, as A.P.S was going through, some of the transition that's going through. And this has been the least lame duck month or so I have ever seen. Everybody is playing full out. There isn't a person I call or anything we ask for from partners or our team that people don't step up and line up for. So teachers, teleworkers, principals who've been leading this change, who get on I don't know how many Zoom calls ad nauseum. We also have Trinity, HealthShare, T-Mobile, Google, Lockheed Martin, Porsche, countless individual donors who are giving us the money that we don't have to pay back to be able to provide more technology to our kids. Gooder, the Food Bank, the Annie Casey Foundations, Families First Credit Unions is doing a lovely lunch for our bus drivers as well. We're going to practice social distancing so that it's all safe. But I just wanted to say thank you to everyone, and we appreciate everything that you're doing to make A.P.S successful during this incredibly stressful time. But also because we know that everything that we do right now is going to set up A.P.S for success for the start of the next school year. So I love you. We're still working hard every day. You know how to find me and reach me. You can call me on my cell, email me, reach out to my office. I am working every day, so you can be rest assured that A.P.S is on track for ending the school year strong and being prepared for the start of the next school year. All right, take care, everybody, and I'll see you again soon. Love you, and air hugs to everyone. Bye.